Welcome to In Such a Time, conversations on Jewish life, leadership, and meaning. Each week, Rabbis Jonathan Jaffe and Liora Landi explore the moments, questions, and ideas that shape who we are and who we aspire to be. And now for this week's conversation.
Welcome to the In Such a Time podcast. Rabbi Landi, our first live podcast recording this evening. Woo! With all of our fans here, all present. So this is a special event that we're doing here on Erev Shavuot in order to thank some of those who are supporting our congregation and to bring in the Chag together here tonight. So first of all, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm jazzed. We're about to, it's revelation. We're about to get the Torah, so I'm good.
I'm very excited as well. Tonight, I introduced you as well, if it might be a surprise to some out there, that we thought it would be fun. And here I am going to utilize the most gimmicky podcast sort of shtick, is that we are going to have a live draft. And we are going to be drafting the Jewish holidays.
I've never done this before.
And the way that you do this draft is that in terms of, let's say that you could only practice 5 Jewish holidays and all the other ones went away onto. So it's not necessarily the happiest ones, because there are certain somber days in the calendar but are very meaningful to us.
Okay.
But which are those that we would first prioritize if we could not keep all of the Jewish holidays?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is this mine, or is this to keep the Jewish people going? Because those are two different questions.
This is your desert island.
Okay.
You're practicing only these 5. This is my desert island. We are later going to ask those in attendance here to choose theirs, and the QR code that will be passed around, some of you have already, gives you a chance to vote and rank your own top 10, because between our 5 each, we're going to have 10 altogether. Now, let's just do some sort of rules here first.
Okay.
Rule number 1 is we're talking about annual Jewish observances. Don't cheat. Don't try to get all cutesy and do Shabbat or Havdalah or Rosh Chodesh. This is
okay. I'm not got too many questions. So
that would include, let's say, religious holidays, but also include, let's say, Yom Yerushalayim, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom HaZikaron, days in Israel, which I included as well in the survey for others here to do as well. And then at the end, we're going to vote on who won the draft between our 2, but admittedly, we may have different sensibilities. There might be more populist sentiment for certain holidays that rabbis have different views on, and that's okay as well. So I think we're all winners here tonight. And I thought, to make this only fair, we're going to give you a terrible choice to begin with here. We're going to start with one of us is going to get the first vote, first choice, and then we're going to go snake draft style, which means the other person is to get 2 and 3. And then we'll go back and forth after that to make up for the, someone has a huge advantage in picking first.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand the rules of this, but I'm just gonna.
You've not been part of a snake draft before this way. No. So here's the big question you have at first. Would you like to have the first pick, or would you like to have picks 2 and 3?
I don't know the rules, but I'm very competitive. So I'd like to have 2 and 3, please.
You can do 2 and 3.
I don't know if that's a good
now,
one or not.
When we do these, we're not trying to take all night long with this, but when we do a holiday, just to be very clear here, has to include the ritual itself. It includes food that is associated with it, customs associated with it, days off, I don't know, anything else. It's the full experience. What texts are associated with it. So it's the whole shebang.
Like if you say something, then I can't put that as my 2 and 3.
This is a draft. You cannot.
Okay.
Guys, you could think what I'm going to say and try to steal it from me and get it on yours first. But you have to decide whether to play offense or defense in this draft.
I do not understand this. Okay, let's go.
So I have picked 1 and you pick 2 and 3, and then I go 4, 5, 6 back.
You know what? Can I have 1?
I gave it to you. And you have to say what it is, and you have to explain your choice as to why this is, for you, your desert island draft pick.
Okay, I got this.
Okay.
I know what yours is, and I know it's mine too.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
Number 1 is Pesach, is Passover.
With a bowl. Absolutely, yes.
Passover, Pesach is really the foundational holiday for the Jewish people. We literally relive it every single day in our liturgy. It's about freedom and leaving Egypt, and we have to see ourselves in each generation as if we have been freed. What's so amazing and important about Passover, it basically gives you a how-to with the Seder of how to raise Jewish kids. You have to teach them to be inquisitive. You have to teach them to question. You have to teach them to be curious. You have to teach them to have a lot of chutzpah. And you have to teach them how to be resilient. And the Seder is the embodiment of what it means to pass on this narrative to the next generation. One of the things that I don't love about Passover, it's like one of these holidays that they tried to kill us. We survived and let's eat. But that's also one of the reasons that I love reliving the Exodus. But you have to take all the chametz out of your house, and you have to really prepare yourself for this experience. So Pesach for me, also personally, was just so much preparation. Like, what did we have to do? So there's something really freeing about taking out certain elements of your life and cleaning and spending that time together and just making sure that we're all doing this collectively. Like, those are some of my most formative memories of just being with my parents and my brother, now with my kids as we're trying to prepare for Pesach. So that's my number one. I appreciate you giving me that spot.
It's I tell you, it is a deathly blow to not have Passover. We think about this in terms of if I were leading a Jewish life and if I couldn't practice Passover, how empty it would feel at that time of year. It is the spring holiday. It checks all the boxes. You've got food, you've got music, you have different ethnic variations of this. You got Ashkenazi and Sephardi, and do you eat this and that? And then there are other Mizrahi customs with it. It's a family holiday. It's in the home. It's a fantastic story. You're playing with your food. You're throwing things at one another. You're singing all night long.
With
search for finding lost pizza. It's like it's the whole shebang.
Something. This is gonna vegetarian. I'm just gonna pass over.
Works, right?
So works, yeah.
Very good. So can we have written on the board up here under Team Landi? We've got Passover number one, and I tell you, it's like I'm already injured. I'm stumbling forward in this draft now. You've taken the big one.
It was an act of love. I appreciate that.
Okay, very good. My number two, my Shana is again, it's all encompassing. It is the fall season. It is a beautiful time of year. It's the time in which all of these different fruits from Israel are all at this time ripening. You look over the summer, you watch the grapes grow, you watch the pomegranates grow, you get excited for it. You've got apples and you've got honey there. You've got the blowing of the shofar, Torah stories. You've got the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. You've got the story of Hannah and the Haftarah, praying and being the first woman to actually pray for herself. You have the story of Hagar and Ishmael being sent out into the wilderness. It is joy and optimism and enthusiasm and goal setting for the new year. It is the time traditionally, we think of Hanukkah as being when we buy presents, but Rosh Hashanah was traditionally the fall shopping season and buying your new clothing for the year, coming together after spending our time apart over the summer and just celebrating all that we have together. I think that for me, after Passover, the pure joy, meaning, and gathering of Rosh Hashanah.
Also do a mean Seder.
We do a mean Seder. Many people don't know that you're supposed to do a Rosh Hashanah Seder with the different fruits of the season, and you're eating all these wonderful sweet things with silan, with pomegranate syrup and date syrup, and with pomegranates. It's the best, and that's true in my household. Rosh Hashanah is given the glam markup, and it's really very well done. Any thoughts for you for Rosh Hashanah?
So I've shared this, like both of my parents were clergy. So Rosh Hashanah was always like peak anxiety time. But then when I moved to Israel, it was really like a full sensory experience. Like you can feel it in the air when the air is drier and crisper and what to bring people. It's so special. Yeah.
I think that for me, one of my favorite things about Rosh Hashanah, being a congregational rabbi, is that we get to stand up on the bima and watch people stream in, and all of these people who haven't seen each other over the summer just come to see and like hug each other and get to like renew their relationships. For me, that is so much fun. And the way that we do Erev Rosh Hashanah here, this informal musical service outdoors and just welcoming in the season, that's my number one then after Passover. Okay, I get to keep on going. Yes, I get the number.
This is the rule. Okay.
This was how we divided it first.
I told you I don't know.
You're gonna renege. I'm gonna do three, but then it goes back and forth after that because you did get number one Passover.
Okay, and I stand by it. Go.
So number three might be a bit of a curveball to some out there, but I think one that you and I both would fight over heavily. Yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Sukkot.
Oh my God.
Sukkot. Yes, Sukkot is again outdoors. The fall, building your sukkah together with your family. Here at our synagogue, I invite our teens to come over to my house and to build our sukkah together, hanging all of the signs and the symbols and all the prayers up there, inviting friends to come over as ushpizin, as guests to your sukkah, sleeping in the sukkah, the memory of decorating your sukkah. And just as you're done decorating it, it starts to rain because it's the beginning of the rainy season in Israel. And also it rains here in New York around that time, and everyone running inside now, wet. Also, everything having to do with the lulav and the etrog as symbols of the season and the blessings of in every direction, waving it, that may our year be fruitful, may we have our joy and abundance at this time period. I just love it's the most beautiful outdoor fall festival, sort of in New York, what everyone here likes about going to the pumpkin patch and to corn maze. It is the Jewish equivalent, or like even a root of all of that. And I find Sukkot just to be entirely joyous.
Yeah, I agree. And also I think wrong holiday. Sukkot is so beautiful metaphorically because it's about wandering and it's about nothingness. And that's the time when the people of Israel became a people, is when they had really nothing to do. When they had to just exist and be together. They had to pull it together in the desert. So Sukkot is also just about the impermanence of life and being okay with that.
I think that for me, calendar, and Passover certainly as well, it gives its rootedness in land and connection and watching the seasons change. It's so much based upon where we are in the world and just pausing in our life, stepping outside and saying, wow, like I don't want to miss this. This season is so, so special. And, having grown up rather without seasons in Hawaii, coming here and living now in the Northeast, and fall with all of its majesty and beauty, if only fall would not be followed by winter, it would be that much better. But like just that fleeting joy of happiness and knowing it's also Sukkot, I think of as, okay, we've had our fun. Now it's time to get we're putting shovels in and we're getting to work and being industrious for the fall.
When in Israel, it's supposed to be the first rain, and the Sukkot is really a rain holiday. You pray for rain. And if the rain came too early or the rain came too late, it would be in the news. Oh, the rain didn't come on time this year. What's the rest of the year going to look like?
What's the kinneret? What's the level this year?
What's going to happen? Are we cursed? Do we need to pray for rain, or it's rained too early? Are we going to have a crop going to flood? And so I love being in that conversation too.
Yeah. Okay. You're on the clock.
Don't you get 3? Oh, now I get 2. Okay.
No, now you get 1. Then it goes back and forth.
No.
The snake dropping.
I get to my number 2 now.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
Okay, go for it.
So my number 2 is Shavuot. So there's 3 pilgrimage holidays. There's Passover, Sukkot, and Shavuot. Shavuot is what we're observing here. For me, there's a few elements. Number 1, Shavuot is about the receiving of the Torah, and you're supposed to go from 7 weeks, according to this narrative, 7 weeks from Exodus from Egypt, and then we arrive at Sinai 7 weeks later, which is not accurate, but doesn't matter. And we receive the Torah, which is supposed to be this revelatory moment. And the reason that that's so powerful for me is we're always trying to recreate this moment of revelation. And that brings me to this notion of we just always want to have our most original experience in our life. Whatever was precious to us as a child is what's precious to us later on. And so I think that Sinai is our childhood Jewish memory, and we're trying to recreate that. That's part 1. Part 2, it's a dairy holiday. I'm vegetarian. It's my favorite holiday. And celebrating it in Israel, it's very different than celebrating it here. All throughout, there's these nights of study, and it's really like a festival throughout the country where you're going from house of study to house of study to cultural center to cultural center, and people are singing and people are performing and people are learning, and it's just really exciting. And it's like this Jewish Renaissance evening. And you do that after you've eaten all the dairy and you're not really feeling well, because Jews shouldn't eat too much dairy. And then you stay up till the morning studying, and then you've received the Torah, allegedly, and it's just so hopeful to just do this as a collective and to be in this, and to generation after generation keep saying that the Torah is important for me and is important for us. And it's also in Israel and on the calendar, it's before the 7 weeks that lead up to Tisha B'Av, which are the driest the driest months of the year. And so like you're celebrating one more crop and you literally have these bikurim. You literally have like the fruits, the first fruits, which you present. And if you're on a kibbutz, you present like your first babies, and it's this whole ceremony, which is really beautiful and cute. Um, and here it's a little bit different in the diaspora. I think it's a holiday that we're trying to kind of bring back.
Yeah.
And so it's number two for me because I'm hopeful that we're gonna bring it back.
Rabbi, I have to say, I'm surprised that in all of the wonderful things you said about Shavuot, you did not mention
The Book of Ruth,
a heroine, an amazing story
True.
of female empowerment and of compromise and of.
More than that, the Book of Ruth is also about a woman who converts to Judaism, and she follows her mother-in-law, and it's really about like this yearning for love. And from her ancestry, from Ruth, who's this convert, a Moabite convert to Judaism, comes the lineage to King David. And so like all of us can choose to opt into the Jewish people. Even King David came from Moabite roots. So yeah, it's like it's beautiful in every way.
The only reason for me, first of all, I think it's fascinating that the Shalosh Regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals of the Torah, all made it into our top 4. We're very biblical in this way, where this is not the way that I think that a lot of our people would rank their holidays. For me, Shavuot really suffers ultimately from lack of good food options. I'm telling you, I think that the food, if you compare it to it, hear me out for a second. Like blintzes, not that great, right? Blintzes, like does someone take a second blintz after they eat a first one?
Well, then
We just have blintz out there.
foods.
It's not that great. And then after that cheesecake, okay, I'm gonna have a slice of cheesecake.
Like
it's not that great. Cheese barekas are great. My wife is at home right now making something called zayit babayit, which is
I know what that is.
Which translates literally as olive in its house.
So
and it's a little like cheese bread with olive stuffed in it, and it's like a pull apart bread that you do it like that.
Why?
It's not, once you've made it an all dairy meal, it's just not that interesting. It gets repetitive.
Well, we also don't do the whole like ritual and presentation. Like in Israel, you had like the kids all have to wear white at the same time, and then they have to like get wheat and they have to tie it around their head, and then they like go with their little baskets to school to like recreate the temple in Jerusalem, which is like it's kind of weird, but it's so cute. We need cute.
Greatest delta between how it's celebrated in Israel and in the diaspora, and that Shavuot in Israel is magical and amazing. And as we mentioned a couple podcasts ago, we need to do a little bit of a zhuzh up with Shavuot in the diaspora. Okay, good. We'll work on that one. Okay, for my next one, I'm going to give the people what they want, and we're going straight to Hanukkah.
Yeah.
You
can have it.
Hanukkah, let me make the case for Hanukkah. First of all, I ended with food. Let's start with food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got sufganiyot, jelly donuts at this time. You've got latkes to have. Pretty much anything deep fried. If you like deep fried foods, Hanukkah is there for you. Hanukkah has got an amazing story, a story rooted in the land of Israel, a story about empowerment and not passing on our problems and not being kicked from one land to another. It's not they tried to kill us and didn't work, let's eat. It's we actually stood up and we fought for our people, and we preserved this land and we kept it. Hanukkah, even with the way that it's become Americanized and now turned into sort of a parallel to Christmas, what's really inherent within Hanukkah, both its stories, its rituals, the idea that at the darkest, coldest time of year, we are going to come gather with our families. We're going to eat deep fried fatty foods. We are going to play silly top games like dreidel and eat M&Ms together. And we're going to, in the winter solstice, we're going to light lights and watch the light spread out as we turn now to the days getting again longer and longer. For a time of year, which frankly for me is the most depressing and most challenging time of year, when the days are that short and it's cold outside and you still have one bright star to look towards. I love the fact that in our own synagogue, we've instituted a sufganiyah crawl down the Upper East Side, where we go from one donut shop to another and tasting all of these incredible donuts. You don't have to tell us that in Israel, the gourmet donuts are like on steroids.
But then if it's not enough, at the end you have to have ice cream to top off.
That's the Nito gelato is right there. Exactly. Yes, but much better than Shavuot cheesecake is what I'm trying to say. So for me, Hanukkah, despite all of my misgivings about Hanukkah being relegated or often construed as a Christmas for the Jews sort of a thing, it has so much to offer in terms of ritual, food, family, fun, and a wonderful story. That's my next pick. Your thoughts on Hanukkah?
Yeah, here's my problem with Hanukkah.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the rabbis, Maccabees, narrative to be so offensive. These zealots who decided to take matters into their own hands and didn't let God deliver them.
Yes.
I think it's a really interesting narrative, but they were heretical.
Mm-hmm.
It's been adopted by the Israeli narrative as like, we are the heroes and you're not going to take us down. And there's elements of that
A lot
have
of
not
puffing out.
Yeah.
Yes.
It hasn't held up so well in the last few years.
Yeah.
But I get why it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The most disappointing thing that happened to me on Hanukkah is that when we moved from Israel to America, my kids realized that they are supposed to get presents on Hanukkah. You don't do that in Israel. And they're like, is it true that we get 8? And I was like,
oh, that was
you get 1.
Right. So you did. Okay. What's your next pick?
My next pick, this is going to be a downer. But I stand by it.
Looking, yes.
Is Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is the 9th of Av. That is actually 7 weeks from today. So it's 7 weeks from Shavuot to Tisha B'Av, and then it's another 7 weeks from Tisha B'Av to Rosh Hashanah. And Tisha B'Av marks the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, and it's this national day of mourning that marks all of the terrible things that have ever happened to the Jewish people. Yes, great of that. I love that. And so Tisha B'Av marks the destruction.
Jen, you were supposed to write it in the Hebrew. What there?
It's actually fewer letters.
Yeah, it is.
Tisha B'Av marks the destruction of both the temples in Jerusalem. And why is it important? Metaphorically, I think it's really important because it's supposed to remind us that from destruction is fertile ground. Like from destruction, you're supposed to have the Messianic redemption. We're not talking about Messianic redemption here. But from our lowest point, we only have the ability to grow. And that's why I think it's so beautiful that it's right before Rosh Hashanah, that you have these 7 weeks of like, you're at your lowest, the people of Israel are at their lowest, and then you have to rebuild and you have to rebirth and you have to reinvent yourself, and it's about renewal. And so that theme of renewal is such a hopeful theme. And I think it's so Jewish in that way. And more than that, if the destruction in Jerusalem hadn't happened, then we wouldn't have rabbinic Judaism. We wouldn't have the Judaism that we have. And so that's like the ultimate fertile ground. From something so terrible, the Jewish people destroyed themselves. We also reinvented ourselves, and we continue to reinvent ourselves even when we destroy ourselves. So that's number 3. And even though it's a hard day because it's hot and it's the middle of the summer and you're fasting, I still think it's really powerful.
So while I also find it to be very powerful, I'm going to give you for my marks against Tisha B'Av.
Please.
First of all, I would say that there are multiple days of Jewish mourning, so I can just fold it into one of those, right?
It was supposed to be, all the others were supposed to be folded into that one.
But now with the Yom HaZikaron, now with Yom HaShoah, there's other sad days in the calendar. So I understand, I say that I roll, but very much. And my hardest part with Tisha B'Av is that as someone who really loves the summer and warm weather, it's the worst time of year for me to force myself to be sad. They should change. I wish that Tisha B'Av happened in December. How can I possibly be upset in July when it's so awesome outside everywhere?
I can tell you.
Because when you're in Israel.
If you're in Israel and it's 110 degrees and you're not allowed to drink water, and you're sitting in the sun mourning, you feel terrible. And yeah, but it's actually supposed to be, it's interesting.
Yeah.
The Jewish calendar, you're supposed to really feel the Jewish calendar. It's very much an agricultural calendar in Israel. And you feel the destruction. You feel that everything is on the verge of being on fire.
And in Israel, by Tisha B'Av, you're like, oh God, please let these long, hot days be over. Let me please move on from this. I get that. I don't feel that way, but you do.
3 pregnancies, right around.
Well, now you're playing a card. I can't go there.
You can't go there. But I remember going to get my car fixed on Tisha B'Av, and an Israeli ultra-Orthodox man. I was just hot and pregnant. And he goes, oh, Givera, like, oh, ma'am, this is truly a sad day for you.
Here's my last critique of Tisha B'Av. Why is it that Yom Kippur, we end the fast and we have this like break fast? It's part of the Chag is a Yom Kippur break fast. Tisha B'Av, you've been fasting, you don't have the same, doesn't have the same buy-in of like, oh, where are you going for Tisha B'Av break fast? No one talks about that. People don't talk about Yom Kippur. Where are you going for Yom Kippur
I think that's a
breakfast?
very American thing to do break fast.
In Israel, you're right. You basically just go home and you have like a little bagel and that's it, or
Yeah.
like a pita or something. In the US, because we are going back and forth between diaspora and
Yeah.
Israel, in the US, it's made such a big thing, the break fast. It's its own social component of Yom Kippur. And Tisha B'Av does not really have that equivalent.
Well, let me tell you that if some people stop fasting midday, some people don't fast at all, but if you're fasting,
Some people don't have maybe never heard of Tisha B'Av.
right.
Yeah.
And some people, but those who do, some people specifically stop midday because they say that we're in a redemptive moment because the state of Israel exists. And I used to be like a 25-hour faster, and then someone said that to me, and I was like, yes, I believe in the state of Israel, and I love the state of Israel, and I think that breaking fast midday is a great idea. So that is true break fast.
Okay. So I got the next one.
You do.
This is one that's controversial between you and I. I don't think you're gonna miss not having this
Oh,
one on
you're
your
gonna
list.
say
What do you think I'm gonna say?
Purim?
I'm gonna say Purim.
You can have it.
So let's start with the detraction from Purim. Why it's not higher on the list. Number one, again, bad food, terrible cookie.
Mhm.
No one like eats a second Hamantaschen. It's not a good thing to eat, right?
Mhm.
Well, like, and then after the Hamantaschen, what do you really have that way? Number two, like Purim carnivals are just germ fests, and like the social here, you've been there before. It's just stuff to runny nosed kids all over the place. And if you're with young adults, they're just drunken. If you're in Israel, it's basically turned into this Mardi Gras festive debauchery and stuff out in the streets. It can be, for once you hit middle age, it can be, it's like some of the sheen is off. Now let me build it up on the other end. First of all, fantastic story. Another story of a female heroine, a story that really we can relate to in terms of assimilation into a larger culture, deciding about your Jewish identity. Who really am I? Am I more a Persian princess? Am I more a Jewish girl? Where do my alliances stand? How do I mask myself? What part of the outside world? How do I have to protect myself? I think in this moment is a like very prescient questions for the Jewish community. I think the reading of Megillat Esther is, it's a beautiful story, it's a beautiful tradition to do together, and the wonderful commentary and study all upon it. But that I'm going to do is my last strike against it. And please, I don't want to offend anyone here. I never liked Purim spiels. It was never my thing to go to the synagogue and to hear people do like Weird Al Yankovic versions of like different like theater show tunes or such. I just never really got it. And maybe it's my synagogue growing up didn't have great Purim spiels. Maybe you guys grew up with wonderful ones here as well. For me, it just never really resonated as to why on this night are we suddenly, singing our send up of Frozen, and like, how is that a thing we're supposed to be doing?
Overarching theme of being Jewish in the diaspora. Like, I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful story. I think that the mitzvot of Purim are really interesting too. You're supposed to hear the Megillah, and you're supposed to give tzedakah, and you're supposed to have a meal, and you're supposed to engage with your neighbors. Purim itself is hell.
Are you saying that as a mother or just overall?
I had a Purim trauma. We're not gonna open it now, but I
Okay.
had a Purim trauma when I was really young, and I've hated this holiday since. Like, someone spooked me out when I was like 3, and I'll
Yeah.
never forget it. And then Purim was dead to me.
Okay.
And so,
Sorry.
and my kids love it, and I get excited for them, but
Mhm.
I've never been able to get on board.
And it was so much fun, but it's great for someone in their early 20s. I'm just not really there right now.
Yeah, and also like as a parent, I remember in Israel, as a parent, I guess maybe on Halloween it's the same. Like, we needed, Purim's like extended to like, it's really one day, and it's not even a festival, but
Mhm.
it would be like 4 days long, and
Yeah.
you have to have 5 different costumes, and then you have to change your kids in and out of the costumes,
The
and
costume thing is tough.
then you have to repaint their faces. And so, it just became
Okay.
it never got the traction that.
Okay, so we've
Yeah.
gone now. Each of these holidays we're talking about now both has sort of pluses and minuses. So I think now, you're at your
I know where I'm
number
at.
4.
I kind of wish I could switch my 3 and my 4, but I'm gonna be okay
They're
with
both on
it.
your list.
I know, but doesn't matter.
I'm hoping you're not going to take my next one.
I'm going to.
Go ahead.
Yom Kippur.
Not my next one.
Oh,
Oh, very good.
good. Yom Kippur is not a sad day. It's called the Day of Atonement, but it's not a sad day. It's a day of hope, and it's a day of purging yourselves of the things that you needed to allow yourself to be freed from.
Mhm.
And it's a day that, like, by the end of it, you're supposed to be so elated, and so free and so ready to start your year. Um, and I think I love the theme of it. I love the metaphor of it. I also love the collective experience of Yom Kippur. Like, it's hard, but you get over the hump of the fast and you're okay. And just the entire community being together, and the entire community saying these ancient words together, and then one or some of the rabbis getting to share their ideas, and the music, and it just takes you back to a moment in time. And I love all of it. It brings me back to our origin story of, like, being a people um in the temple in Jerusalem. I'm not like a temple in Jerusalem Jew. That's not what moves me, but I do like to place myself in Jewish history. And we are also reenacting elements of the ritual of the Kohen, of the high priest in the temple in Jerusalem. We're doing these same things of, like, being together, repenting together, trying to do better as a community. Um, and the fasting element is actually, it's tiring, it's hard, it's exhausting, but it's just such a redemptive, hopeful day. What do you think?
I'm going to try to speak without offending our congregants here or disappointing them and such, because I think there's a lot of beauty to Yom Kippur. I would add to it the story of Jonah being something that's incredibly meaningful, and the idea that the optimism that each year, what we've done in the past, we get a chance to start clean each year, and that we are not going to be haunted by the sins or mistakes of our past. That's a fundamental lesson in Judaism, and something that I find to be so liberating. Hard things about Yom Kippur.
I'm
Kol Nidre
This is
Cello.
recorded.
This is being recorded, and you're hearing me say this, and some of you here will disagree with me. Absolutely. I don't understand why a service pauses for 10 minutes to certainly turn into an orchestral piece. That there's nothing like, I don't know why. I know that that's a part of classical
So you're
Judaism,
saying
which
you
is
want it to
so
be longer this year.
exactly. So number one for me, like, they've gone silent when I said this, is terrible, is the cello, is number one on that one. Number two, like, the readings overall, like I said, Jonah, but like on Yom Kippur, the Torah reading is really about all the sacrifices,
Oh my
the
God, I
temple,
love
and
it.
if anything, the Haftarah is really gorgeous about, like, that your fasting isn't enough. It's really about how you treat people in your lives. So I think that for me, I really value Yom Kippur, but if I get to keep Rosh Hashanah and Sukkot, so I've got sort of the bookends here, I'm doing okay.
Yom Kippur, I mean, everything is a lead up to Yom Kippur.
Not originally. Yom Kippur was originally like a purification day, so you could be ready for Sukkot, because Sukkot
That's
was
actually
the
true.
regel, was the time to go. Over time, we're not farmers anymore, but we are very guilt-ridden people, and so it has taken over for it. It's true.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely. I'm saying Yom Kippur clubs baby's heels.
Okay.
I'm saying. Okay. My last one. I'm gonna get this one then. I'm putting choose between these two. Simchat Torah is
Take
my
it.
next one. What? Simchat Torah?
Ugh.
I mean, the
Can
entire.
I see the list of the other holidays?
No, you cannot. I
Oh.
prepared.
Just kidding.
Oh yeah, I keep throwing it. You want me to? Here, I got the whole thing right here. So, Simchat Torah, where to begin? I mean, valuing the Torah, hearing the Torah being read out loud and finishing and then starting all over again. The idea that this is not about making it to an end, but it is about the journey all along, and that we change every year. The text remains the same, and observing how we read it differently, having us open up the entire scroll and holding the Torah as an entire congregation, the idea that this is the thing that binds us all together, and then festive food, dancing, music, and it's the end of the high holidays. It is that we have gone through everything now, from Tisha B'Av, through Rosh Hashanah, through Yom Kippur, through Sukkot. We've come through it all, and now it's one last, like, okay, we've done it all, and now we're starting the book from the very beginning, because it's our favorite book, and we're going to read it all over again because we've changed, and let's celebrate and dance around this. I think is such a wonderful public celebration, and it's also, I would say, a celebration of Jewish education, which is something which is so core to who we are as Jews, and the idea that we always keep learning. There's always something new to turn and to understand the Torah differently. I think the message that gives about the value of learning is so strong for us. I love Simchat Torah.
Does that include Shemini Atzeret?
that I put that as on the list here, but if you'd like to make that your last one, I am not including it. I'll give it to you if you want. First, you have to explain to them what is Shmini Atzeret.
I don't.
Are you picking it?
I don't know, but I'll explain it anyway.
Okay.
Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah are grouped together. In the Reform Jew celebrates 7 days of a festival, and also in Israel they celebrate 7 days, so they're grouped together. But Shmini Atzeret is act one is going to be Yom Ha'atzmaut.
That was high as well. Yeah.
And that is because that's for a few reasons. Number one, I am a Zionist. It's not a question mark. I'm a Zionist, and I have a lot of love and I have a lot of critique towards Israel. And the fact that Israel exists is a blessing, is a miracle, and it is complicated, and it's the fruition of centuries of longing. I don't believe it's a God-given miracle. I think it is a moment that we took all the gifts and all of the challenges and we did something despite all the odds. I don't think it's the beginning of the Messianic redemption. I think it's just an incredible thing. And I think it's also a sacred day, even though it's a political day, because the creation of a state is political, but it's miraculous in so many ways that the Jewish people have a homeland and that we have a place to be safe. And so much so that it's been given religious liturgy. The Haftorah, which it doesn't actually have a Haftorah, but the Haftorah that's read, or one of the Haftorahs that's read on Yom Ha'atzmaut is Megillat Ha'atzmaut, is the Declaration of Independence. And
not in Orthodox synagogues, or
synagogues and modern Orthodox synagogues.
Yes. In Zionist Orthodox.
In Zionist Orthodox synagogues. And you do Hallel, which is this very joyous recitation of Psalms. And even though I have, as an Israeli and as a Zionist, I have like such a complicated relationship with it. It's like the one day a year that I get to put that on the side and say, I'm just so thankful that it exists. I'm so thankful that I'm Israeli. I'm so thankful that my kids are Israeli. And just to be in that love and that awe of, of being this moment. Tisha B'Av is on my list, like the destruction of Jerusalem, and then getting to be in Israel on Yom Ha'atzmaut to celebrate like the fact that we get to be here and that we've yearned for it, and look, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's amazing. It's like I could pinch myself.
Yeah, no, I'm less conflicted. I think that it's, the greatest modern social experiment in the world, the fact that a people resuscitated themselves, renewed their language, brought themselves back to their land, and basically brought themselves back from the dead and reestablished a state, and that we are fortunate enough to live in a time period where that state exists. I completely agree with you. It would be right there next on my list in like honorable mention, that or we haven't gotten to Tu B'Shvat either. It would be like sort of right there for me on that list. If there's any downside, I would say for Yom Ha'atzmaut, I think of Yom Ha'atzmaut in Israel, I think of huge barbecues out in the park with trash everywhere afterwards. It's disgusting all over Jerusalem after Yom Ha'atzmaut. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like all the trash bins are overfilled and people are throwing their things just not even in the garbage cans. I just remember being in Jerusalem for multiple times on Yom Ha'atzmaut and just feeling like everything was just really dirty around then. So I don't mean to, it's because it's about building a country.
No,
and what do we do now?
I think you're right. I think that you're naming something that exists. That's part of my critique. Israel is a miracle. Israelis have a lot to work on internally. No, like you got to throw away your trash.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we have our list here. So just to Hanukkah, Purim, and Simchat Torah, and you got
Passover, Shavuot, Tisha B'Av, Yom Kippur, Yom Ha'atzmaut. I think that's a good list.
I think it's a good list. I think I won, but I think that's a good list overall.
Passover.
You do have Passover, and I said that's the hardest thing to overcome. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to bring this podcast to a close and thank everyone. And then here tonight, people who are present with us actually have a QR code to vote for their top 10. And we're going to see what the consensus is that comes out from this group as well. And then after this recording as well, if anyone has any comment on what they've heard or questions or pushback or tell us that we're crazy or tell us who actually won, we're happy to do that. So for now, thank you all for coming here, Rabbi.
The question.
Yes.
Does this mean that I know how to do draft picks now, and I should get into this?
You should do fantasy.
Okay, I got this.
Okay, now you got Snake 5 holidays starting tonight.
I'm so excited. It's gonna be a long night.
Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Thanks for joining us on In Such a Time. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. To learn more about Rabbis Jonathan Jaffe and Leora Landi, or to connect with Temple Beth-El of Northern Westchester, visit bethelnw.org, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Temple Beth-El NW. Thanks for listening.